Welcome to Spanglish Friends, the podcast for true beginner Spanish learners.
Hola amigos, I'm Val, your co-host and experienced Spanish teacher from Venezuela.
And I'm Em, your Australian co-host who's been learning Spanish for 10 years.
Our goal is simple, to get you confident listening and speaking in beginner Spanish with content you'll actually use in real-life conversations.
Join the Spanish Friends community by subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts and following us on social media at Spanglish_friends. Let's get started.
Comencemos.
Welcome back, Spanglish Friends.
Bienvenidos a todos to our episodio 7, episode 7 of the podcast.
Yes, I'm glad to be back and super excited about today's episode because the last 3 episodes, we've been doing our crash course on how to pronounce anything, yes, literally anything in Spanish.
Sí, yes, we taught you about how to read consonants, vowels, how to pronounce letters that might be spoken differently than in English. We gave useful tips, we explained the accents, and so much more.
That's right. And you can find the whole series by listening to episodes 4, 5, and 6. We promise that you will be able to read anything in Spanish afterwards and pronounce it. You might not know the meaning, but you will certainly be able to pronounce anything in Spanish. So go check out our crash course series on pronunciation if you haven't already.
Absolutely. But today we are progressing with a topic that is super important if you want to start speaking in Spanish. Today's topic is all about género gramatical or genders in Spanish. How do they work?
And you might be thinking, Spanglish friends, what do genders have to do with learning a language?
So today we want to teach you how we use genders in Spanish, some common rules, and how to use them.
That's it. So without further ado, let's get our new episode started.
Woohoo! Okay. In Spanish, nouns have genders. A noun is a person, place, or a thing. Unlike in English, everything in Spanish has a gender. A table has a gender. A chair has a gender. A window has a gender. Everything has a gender. And that gender is either masculine or feminine.
This definitely blew my mind as a beginner, right? Because in English, we don't gender inanimate objects like a table or a chair. It's just the table or the chair. But this is the way things are in Spanish. So every time you see a thing and you want to pronounce it in Spanish, you need to know if that thing is a male thing or a female thing. Because in Spanish, they have multiple words for the word the. Okay, in fact, hold on to your helmets. They have 4 separate words to say the word the.
They are el, la, los, las.
El, la, los, and las. Wow. Okay, so, Profe Val, how do we know as beginner learners which of the 4 thus to use? Okay, how do we figure out if it's a masculine or feminine thing and which the to use? Okay, do objects just give off a kind of vibe that tells us what gender it is? Or like, are there some rules that we should know here?
The general rule is that most words ending in o are masculine. For example, el libro, which means the book. Another example, el perro, which means the dog. Both ends in o.
Okay, so these words ending in O are masculine words. Some more examples could be things like el niño, which means the boy, or el hombre, which means the man.
That's spot on, Em. On the other hand, most words ending in a are feminine. For example, la casa, which means the house. La mesa, which means the table.
La casa and la mesa. We've got it. So the rule is generally if it ends in O, it's masculine. And so we use the el, which means the, but it's the male the. And if it's feminine, it will generally end in an A. And we will use the la, which is the female the.
Exactly. There is one more tip to know if a word is going to be feminine. It might also end in cion normally. cion. Cion.
Right. Okay. So it could end in a or cion and be a feminine word. Okay. So give us some examples, Val, of words that end in cion that are feminine words.
Sure. For example, like canción, la canción, which means the song, la presentación, which means the presentation. All these words are feminine.
That makes sense. So we've got two hacks for remembering if a word is feminine and if we need to use the la in Spanish. It's if it ends in the letter A or if it ends in cion, cion.
That's right. Now, there is another layer of the in Spanish. We have two des that we use for when we're talking about multiple things like books or children, more than one noun.
Okay, so these are the two other this. Okay, so we know at the moment that el is used for our singular masculine words, but it changes into a plural form, which is los, 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 when we have more than one masculine noun. Let's bring this to life. So los libros means the books, whereas before it was el libro, singular, we're saying los libros, the books. Or we also have los perros, the dogs. Instead of el perro, we're saying los perros.
Nice, rolling your R.
Trying
Amazing.
so hard. That's right. And so the la in Spanish that we learnt before is used for those singular feminine nouns. It changes into a plural form, which is las. You just add an S, which is super easy. Women, we're super easier. Okay, examples. Before we had la casa for one house, la casa. But if we have lots of houses, we'd say las casas, the houses. Or instead of saying la mesa, which is just one table, la mesa, we would say las mesas, which means the tables.
Easy, right? El and los if plural for masculine nouns and las for feminine nouns.
That's right. We know how to use the for this now. But friends, beware. There are some sneaky exceptions, aren't there, Val, when it comes to words that we think might be masculine, but they're actually feminine or vice versa. Isn't that correct?
Yes, it is. Like in every language, there are exceptions, and Spanish isn't the exception. Some words don't follow these rules. For example, we have the word la mano, the hand. Even though it ends in o, it's a feminine word. Another example could be la moto, the motorbike, la moto. Another example, we have el día, the day. Even though it ends in a, it's still a masculine word.
So, Val, how do we know? How do we figure out with things like la moto? How do we figure out when it doesn't fit the rules?
There is only one secret to know, and that is practice. You just have to keep exposing yourself to new vocabulary over time. There is not like a specific set of rules for this.
No, not for the exceptions. But don't worry if you get the genders wrong as a beginner. Like if you're trying to talk about an object and you get the wrong gender. Okay, I will admit I still get this wrong after 10 years. Seriously, just ask my prof Val in class all the time. I get it wrong. But eventually over time, you will start to get a greater percentage of them right. And you kind of get like a spider sense. I call it like my Spanish spider tingle. And when I'm saying something, I feel it and I say, wait, that's not feminine, it's masculine. And then I
The
can quickly
intuition.
change it. The intuition, that's it. It comes with time.
Your spider tingle. You must mean memory from practicing. But I like this, the Spanish spider sense.
And trust me, Spanglish friends, you will find your Spanish spidey senses over time too.
All right, now as we know that nouns are people, places, or things, it's important to know that some words actually also change their endings based on gender.
Yes, the nouns change their ending. So, could you give us some common examples when this happens and the ending of the noun changes because of the different genders?
Sure. For example, el profesor. El profesor is the male teacher, but then you have la profesora, the female teacher. Here, to make the feminine form, you just need to add an A instead. Another example with animals, el león, the lion, la leona, the lioness. With people would be, for example, el chico, the boy, la chica, the girl. Notice that again that the endings change in a for a girl, chica, and o for a boy, chico.
That's right. And if you have a group of things and it's a mix of genders, you default to using the masculine form, like los niños, the children. Even if it was a room full of 100 girls and only one boy, you would still use los niños. Isn't that correct, Val?
Yes, it's correct. So now we need to cover the adjective.
Yes, adjectives. You're taking us right back to primary school now, Val. Let's have a little refresher. What are adjectives? Adjectives are describing words. They are used to describe nouns. For example, the yellow house. Okay, very simple. The yellow house. Yellow is the describing word. It describes the word house. Yellow is the adjective. And house, the person, place, or thing, is the noun. Another example, the tall man. Okay? The tall man. Tall is the adjective, the describing word, and man is the noun.
That's right. And in Spanish, the adjective must match in gender and the noun. Let me give you an example with colors. Yellow can be amarillo or amarilla, depending on the noun gender. So if I want to say la casa, we know that the house is feminine, right? You would say la casa amarilla, the yellow house, la casa amarilla.
Wait a second, Val. Why did you say la casa amarilla and not la amarilla casa? You said the house yellow if we directly translated it to English, not the yellow house. Why did you put yellow before house?
I did M, and this is the last thing you will learn today, Spanglish friends, and that is the order of verbs and adjective is flipped in Spanish. We put the noun, the person, place, or thing first, and then follow this with the adjective.
That's right. Whereas in English, we put the adjective first and then the noun. To bring this to life, we say the yellow house instead of the house yellow, la casa amarilla. It takes a bit of getting used to as a beginner, but this is so fundamental to remember this flip that Spanish has.
It is. It is. Here are some more examples using the nouns that we have already learned and the color yellow, amarillo. For example, el libro amarillo, the yellow book. We have put el because libro is masculine ending in o, and amarillo instead of amarilla because the book is masculine. Los libros amarillos, the yellow books. We have said los because it's the plural of el, the masculine thing, and we have also made the word amarillo plural, amarillos. It's like saying yellows in English. You always have to make the adjective matching plural form, which like English you just add an s, right? Another example is las casas amarillas, the yellow houses.
Okay, we get it. So to make stuff plural in Spanish, we're just putting an S, the same as English. Great, something that's the same. And everything matches in the sentence. If we're saying the of something and it is a plural, the los or the las, we need to make sure that the describing word we're using is also in its plural form, like amarillos or amarillas. I get it.
Great. Adjectives have also some exceptions where we don't need to change the ending because of the gender.
Of course, there's an exception. So, sneaky exception. So, tell us, is there a key to remembering which of these adjectives, which of the describing words, we don't have to change the ending and add an S?
Well, yes. If an adjective ends in the letter E, it's likely not going to change. For example, inteligente, intelligent, fuerte, strong. So you could say la chica inteligente, the intelligent girl, and el chico inteligente, the intelligent boy. I don't have to put an a at the end of inteligente for a girl.
Right. So both for the male and female, it's inteligente because it ends in an E. Great. Fantastic. We love simple things where we don't have to change things. Perfect. And in our next episode, episode 8, we're going to start teaching you more adjectives to add to your vocabulary, more describing words. So you can start describing things in Spanish, saying things like, él es un hombre guapo. He is a handsome man.
Lol, that's right, Em. Thank you.
Now we need to put our learning into practice. Let's put together everything we've learnt today about genders into a simple conversation that you could use.
For today's conversation, let's imagine I'm in a clothing store with M. En la tienda, the shop. See, it has the feminine la as tienda ends in a. Doing some shopping.
That's right. Then we're going to break it all down afterwards. Are you ready, Spanglish friends?
Lista. I'm ready. Comencemos.
Hola Val, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, Em. Estoy muy bien, gracias.
¿Vamos a la tienda?
Sí, vamos.
Oh, Val, mira, ¿te gusta la camisa amarilla?
¡Wow! Sí, la camisa amarilla es muy bonita.
Ay, también me gusta el vestido amarillo. ¿Vamos a pagar?
Vamos, sí, vamos. How did you find it, friends? Are you starting to pick up things from our previous episodes? Let's break it all down.
Absolutely. So, starting with vamos. I asked Val, ¿vamos a la tienda? ¿Vamos a la tienda? This means in English, let's go to the shops. Vamos a la tienda means let's go to the shops. You can also use vamos in the form we used at the end of the conversation. Vamos a pagar. Vamos a pagar, which means let's go pay. Let's go pay for this thing.
Em also asked me, ¿Te gusta? ¿Te gusta la camisa? Which means, do you like the t-shirt? Gusta is part of the verb to like, and she correctly used the right de. She used la because the word t-shirt, camisa, ends in an a. And you knew that the dress, vestido, was masculine, so you said el vestido. Well done, Em.
Thank you, Profe Val.
Amigos, here is your summary. The 3 things we would like you to remember from today's episode. If you forget everything else, remember these 3 things. Number 1, the 4 des. El, la, los, las. The secret is male nouns generally ends in o, like el libro, the book, los libros, the books. And feminine nouns generally ends in an a or cion, like la casa, the house, la canción, the song, las casas, the houses, las canciones, the songs. Number 2, nouns can change to masculine or feminine, like profesor, a male teacher, or profesora, for a female teacher. Number 3, adjectives are describing words like colors or attributes like tall or small. In Spanish, the adjective change sometimes based on genders, like las casas amarillas versus los libros amarillos. Okay? The secret is, if it ends in e, you don't generally have to change the gender, like la chica inteligente, the smart girl.
That's right. And remembering in Spanish, we're saying the books yellow, los libros amarillos, instead of the yellow books. Remember this order. I have relearned so much today, Profe Val. Great lesson. Spanglish friends, that brings us to our reto of the week, our challenge of the week. Based on what we've learned today, can you tell us which of the 4 this you would use for the following words? Would you use either el, la, los, or las? These are the 3 words we want you to write in the comments and tell us which you would use. These are the 3 words. The children, niños. Which one would you use? The dog. Imagine it was a female dog. Perra. What would you use? And finally, the water, agua. Which one would you use of the this?
We can't wait to see you putting what you have learned into practice.
Next episode, we're going to be diving into what describing words you need to know as a beginner. What adjectives do you need to know so you can start saying sentences like, that food is delicious.
Woohoo! I can't wait. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much, friends, and see you all soon. Hasta luego.
Ciao, Spanglish friends.
Thank you for listening to Spanglish Friends. We are both so proud of the time you're investing to level up your Spanish listening and speaking skills.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, follow us and give the show a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. Or even better, tell a friend about the show. It's how we can help even more people on their Spanish learning journeys and continue to grow our awesome, supportive community.
Don't forget to check out our socials, including Instagram and TikTok at Spanglish_friends for even more beginner Spanish fun.
Congratulations on taking another step today towards your Spanish learning goals. Ciao, Spanglish amigos. Until next time.
Hasta la próxima, amigos.